Let's quickly learn what is VPC, routing table, and then subnets, and then the VPC in 5 minutes. So when you create a VPC, you are going to get and you can choose an option to just create a VPC and all other instances. Now I just created a VPC in East 2 region with two availability zone, 2A and 2B, and each availability zone one private subnet and one public subnet, and here also you see one public subnet and one private subnet. So this VPC range is of 00 by 16. Around you get a 62K of IP addresses, private IP addresses. When I say IP addresses, so you can have resources of 62K spanned across all these subnets, meaning that since it is a total VPC of 62K, here you can have allocate some IP addresses, here you can allocate some IP address, here allocate some, and here some. Even each subnet have one subnet cider range, so you can decide in how many uh, resources, how many IP address should be allocated for each subnet. Now if you see here, so when these things get created, so there is a route tables attached. For these two public subnet, there is one route table attached, and then for each private subnet there is a different route table attached. I'll come to this part what route table it is, but if you quickly see here, this is the internet gateway, which means any communication to and from it should be going through the internet gateway, meaning whatever the resources present in whatever whichever the subnet it is, if it has to make a whether it is a public subnet or a private subnet, if it has to go, I mean, if the resources has to reach to outside internet, or if anyone from internet has to reach that resource, it should be going through the internet gateway. How? We will see in practical. So whatever the picture representation here, this is a VPC here. So if you see, this is the VPC. So, and as I mentioned in the picture, you can see the resource map. One VPC, total 4 subnets. In 2A, 2 subnets, one public private, and 2B, one public private. And so one route table attached to project simple public route table. This is a common for both of these things as I shown here. This is the route table, public route table, and each private subnet has its own route table. This is route table to this one, this is route table to, sorry, this is the route table to this one. Okay, and I'll come to the other NAT gateway and other thing. So whatever the so it has a public subnet, right? Public whatever the EC2 instance created public subnet, so we can access through this publicly, and meaning from internet, somebody whoever wants to access this one, they can connect to this one, since it has a public IP. As I said, it has to come through internet gateway. So whenever you are accessing this public IP, since internet gateway it's there attached to the VPC through route table. I'll show this one. So this is the public route table. So I'm going to click this one. So in the route tables you can see here, and this is the public route table which is common for both public servers. See here, 000, meaning what this means is to reach this 000, meaning anything outside internet, to reach this one you should be using the internet gateway. That's why dotted here. This is a route rule, public route, and public route table. Here if you say destination 00 internet gateway. So if is this EC2 has to reach to internet gateway, that has to through internet that has to go through target internet gateway. If somebody wants to reach this EC2, that has to come through internet gateway. That is the reason. Now this is, let's go and check the EC2 instance here. So this is the public EC2 instance I created. So if you see here, public EC2 instance, and that is in the where is this one, that is in this subnet. So is 2B subnet. So that is what is 2B subnet, which is in the public subnet. So this EC2 will have both public and private IP addresses. So you can come here and see private IP address and then the public IP address. So now I connected to this 18 dot ends with 128. See, this is what I did this one initially. I connected through 128, and whatever the IP address you see is the private IP address, 10.17.235, 10.17.235. So this is an API which will tell, suppose if you call this API, it is going to tell the IP address, the public IP address. So I did a curl, and in turn it gave back the 118.174. Similarly, like from my local computer, I just ran this one, curl, and this one. This is my laptop's public IP, basically my internet provider public IP. So now this has access to the internet. So now this is not like this tried to ping some outside uh, API, and sorry, this easy to try to ping outside API, and it carried its own public IP address. Now let's say similarly, private as subnet, right? So it doesn't have public IP. So how it will connect to the outside world, right? So to connect to the outside world, obviously it has to have some internet connectivity, right? How it happens is, how this route table is connected to both of these things. As I shared in the beginning, it has its own route table. It is going to say, to reach to the destination 0000, to reach to anything in the outlet, use a NAT gateway. What that NAT gateway is, similar to this one, there is a NAT gateway here I created in a public subnet v2. This has its public IP. How easy to has its public IP? NAT gateway has a public IP, which is elastic IP. What it means is, uh, suppose this EC2 got a public IP, right? When you restart, it's going to get its own public IP. But in NAT gateway, elastic public IP, meaning it is reusable, and also this IP address can be assigned to any other resource. And even if you restart whatever thing, this is going to remain same. This is a static IP what you are going to get it. So that's why in this what do you call it? In this one, private subnet routing tables, I gave the destination as NAT gateway. So this NAT gateway is attached